Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hey, welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. Standing by in the wings is Mr. John Cornett. Hey, John.
Hey, Bo, how you doing?
John's going to double tonight as the co-host after he plays a few songs. We got a great hemp news segment for you. We have videos from the global cannabis march that's happened all around the world in over 200 cities, including Portland here just last weekend. And some more videos. One from Jorge Cervantes touring a giant warehouse that he just put up a couple days ago. So stay tuned as we bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Okay, our first story tonight is from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Spending legislation approved by Congress and signed into law by the President reauthorizes language protecting state-sanctioned medical marijuana and industrial hemp programs. However, the President expressed his personal opposition to the measure by issuing a signing statement suggesting that the provisions may interfere with his constitutional authority. Signing statements are frequently issued by presidents in recent years, but they do not carry the weight of law. Section 537 of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2017 states that no federal funds may be appropriated to, quote, prevent any state from implementing their own laws that authorize the use, distribution, possession, or cultivation of medical marijuana, end quote. That language, initially passed by Congress in 2014, is now known as the Rohrabacher-Blumenauer Amendment. A similar amendment protecting state-sponsored hemp programs was also reauthorized. Both amendments will remain in effect until September 30th, 2017, at which time members of Congress will once again need to either reauthorize the language or let the provisions expire. 46 states now recognize the therapeutic use of either cannabis or cannabidiol-derived products. 30 states recognize hemp as an industrial crop, and 8 states regulate the adult use, production, and sale of marijuana. Non-medical retail marijuana businesses operating in these states are not protected by the amendments and still remain vulnerable to federal interference or prosecution. In February, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer publicly said that the administration was considering engaging in, quote, greater enforcement of federal anti-marijuana laws in these jurisdictions, end quote. Of course, this was President Trump's first major piece of legislation that he signed, a $1 trillion spending bill that prevented a federal government shutdown. But with his signature, he included the reservation that he may ignore medical cannabis protections found in the bill. He said, quote, I'll treat this provision consistently with my constitutional responsibility to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Trump wrote in his signing statement. Trump's statement has created confusion on how Trump is going to deal with marijuana. In one interview, he said, quote, legalized marijuana is always a very difficult question. For medicinal purposes or medical purposes, it's fine, end quote. But since moving into the White House, he seemed less open to the idea. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said there could be greater enforcement of these federal laws, and U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions issued a memo this Wednesday, a couple days ago, to thousands of assistant U.S. attorneys throughout the country and all the assistant district attorneys in Washington, D.C. that will reverse some of the more lenient policies regarding drug convictions. The move could result in a spike of drug war-era mandatory minimum sentences, even for nonviolent drug offenders. Session orders prosecutors to, quote, charge and pursue the most serious, readily available, provable offense. We're returning to the enforcement of the laws as passed by Congress, plain and simple, end quote, Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions said during a speech today. If you're a drug trafficker, will not look the other way, will not be willfully blind to your misconduct, end quote. Sessions is well known for being aggressive on drug crimes. He recently said that marijuana is only slightly less awful than heroin, and said in 2016 that good people don't smoke marijuana, end quote. Well, you're wrong, Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions. Udi Ofer, the director of the American Civil Liberties Union Campaign for Smart Justice, said that, quote, Jeff Sessions is pushing federal prosecutors to reverse progress and repeat a failed experiment, the war on drugs, that's devastated the lives and rights of millions of Americans, ripping apart families and communities and setting millions, particularly black people and other people of color, on a vicious cycle of incarceration, end quote. Molly Gill, the Director of Federal Legislative Affairs for Families Against Mandatory Minimums, told the LA Times, quote, it's really ironic. Jeff Sessions touts himself as a champion of public safety, and they want to waste taxpayers' money on people who aren't any threat, end quote. Down south in the Golden State, California Attorney General Javier Becerra said that he would probably be the 1 millionth person in line to fight Attorney General Jeff Sessions if he tried to crack down on California's legal marijuana industry. In a recent interview with Politico, California Attorney General Becerra said, quote, cannabis is the last century's argument. We're beyond that. I suspect if you took a real quick poll, I bet if we took a poll, who's got cannabis, it'd be pretty much, you don't have to raise your hand, but you know what I'm saying? End quote. The former Democratic congressman admitted that he had tried it, quote, at a time when he was younger, end quote, when asked by reporters. David Siders about his own marijuana use. He said, quote, so then it was illegal, Siders asked the Attorney General. He said, quote, I also drive over the speed limit periodically, so, end quote. California's Attorney General Becerra responded, I do too. The federal budget includes an amendment that prevents the Department of Justice from using federal funds to interfere with state legal medical marijuana regimes and hemp programs, but does not include language preventing a crackdown on recreational adult use programs. So Becerra said, quote, something tells me it's not going to happen, end quote. And of course, just last week, Colorado's Governor John Hickenlooper had a meeting with Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions, the nation's Attorney General, and at the end of the meeting, Hickenlooper said that he thinks Colorado's recreational market is safe. Out of Vermont, House and Senate lawmakers have approved legislation, Senate Bill 22, to eliminate criminal and civil penalties specific to adult use and possession of marijuana. The measure amends state law so that the possession of up to 1 ounce of cannabis or the cultivation of 2 mature plants and up to 4 immature plants is no longer subject to penalty. It also establishes a 9-member commission in Vermont to make recommendations to the legislature regarding how best to regulate the adult use marijuana market. If enacted into law, and it's sitting on the governor's desk waiting for that, the penalty changes would go into effect on July 1st, 2018. Vermont Senate Bill 22 now awaits action from Vermont's Governor Phil Scott, who had previously expressed support for decriminalizing marijuana, but has also said that the timing's not right for legalization. In February, his office came out strongly in opposition to a more expansive Vermont Senate proposal that sought to license and regulate the commercial cultivation and retail sale of cannabis to adults. Vermont's legislature is the first ever to approve legislation eliminating criminal and civil penalties for adults who possess or grow marijuana for non-medical purposes. Out in the desert in Carson City, Nevada, Nevada regulators have approved rules to allow for expedited sales of cannabis to adults. Members of the Nevada Tax Commission voted 6-1 on Monday to license select medical dispensaries to engage in the retail sale of non-medical cannabis. Dispensaries in good standing with the state will be able to apply for early start licenses on May 15th, next week. Those facilities who are approved by the state regulators will be able to engage in adult use marijuana sales on July 1st. A majority of voters decided last November in favor of the Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, a voter-initiated measure regulating the commercial marijuana market. Provisions in the law eliminating criminal penalties regarding the personal possession of personal use quantities of cannabis took effect on January 1st. Separate provisions in the measure regulating the commercial production and sale of cannabis were initially slated to take effect on January 1st, 2018, but the regulator's decision is to expedite marijuana sales is in sharp contrast to actions of lawmakers in several other states, including Maine and Massachusetts, both of which have taken steps to delay adult use marijuana sales by several months. Down south in Atlanta, Georgia Governor Nathan Deal signed legislation on Tuesday expanding the state's 2-year-old cannabidiol law exemption. The law takes effect immediately. Georgia Senate Bill 16, for the first time, permits reciprocity for qualifying patients from other states and expands the pool of patients eligible to possess CBD to include those with autism, epidermolysis bullosa, AIDS, Tourette's syndrome, severe peripheral neuropathy, and others who are in hospice care. Over 1,700 Georgians are registered currently to possess CBD-derived products. However, the law neither provides for an in-state supply source for CBD, nor does it establish a regulated distribution system for CBD-specific products. 16 states have enacted similar laws explicitly recognizing cannabidiol as a therapeutic agent. Even farther south, in Tallahassee, Florida, the lawmakers failed to enact legislation this legislative session establishing rules for the implementation of Amendment 2, a voter-initiated measure legalizing the use, production, and dispensing of medical cannabis. Over 70% of Florida voters approved the constitutional amendment last November. Unless lawmakers convene a special legislative session to address the issue, Department of Health staff will be tasked with establishing regulations for the program. Those rules are due by July 3rd. The amendment calls for the program to be operational by October. The agency had previously crafted draft regulations in January. Those provisions received significant pushback because they sought to significantly amend the measure's language and intent. Out of Mexico City, Mexican lawmakers have approved legislation to regulate the use of medicinal cannabis products. The legislation awaits action from Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, who had spoken in favor of the measure. It eliminates criminal prohibitions related to the cultivation of marijuana for therapeutic purposes and authorizes the Mexican Health Ministry to design regulations for the use, importation, and production of pharmaceutical product derived from CBD-dominant low-THC cannabis. Currently, CBD-infused products may be imported into the country on a case-by-case basis. Mexican lawmakers in 2009 decriminalized the personal possession of up to 5 grams of cannabis. Last year, President Nieto proposed legislation to increase this threshold to 1 ounce. In 2015, Mexico's Supreme Court ruled that federal anti-drug laws should not trump individual rights to grow and consume cannabis for their own personal use. Down in South America, pharmacies in Santiago, Chile will begin selling medical marijuana products this week as the nation's legislature is considering allowing patients to grow small amounts at home, according to a report by the Reuters news agency. The product will be imported by Canadian licensed producer Tilray in partnership with Aleph Biotechnology, which is licensed by the Chilean government. The Tilray products will cost about $310 per month for individuals with prescriptions. Medical marijuana was made legal in Chile in 2015, but therapies were only available through a limited number of dedicated farms set up by the charity. According to Roberto Reosman, the Aleph board president, he said in a statement, quote, "By importing Tilray's medical cannabis products to Chile, we intend to ease the suffering of those in need by offering pure, precise, and predictable medical cannabis products." He went on to say that he's also working with Chile's Foundation Daya. I visited their garden down in Chile. Those establishments must complete successful clinical trials before being registered with the Chilean Institute of Public Health and made available for patients, however. Our last story tonight is out of Germany. Researchers from Germany's University of Bonn reported that low doses of THC can help reverse some of the effects of brain aging and assist in restoring memory. Colleagues from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel agree with them, according to a study published in the journal Nature Medicine. The researchers used mice in these studies and found that old animals were able to regress to the state of 2-month-old mice with prolonged low-dose THC treatments. Andreas Zimmer from the Institute of Molecular Psychiatry at the University of Bonn and a member of the Cluster of Excellence Immunosensation said, quote, the treatment completely reversed the loss of performance in old animals, end quote. He went on to say, quote, with increasing age, the quantity of those cannabinoids naturally formed in the brain reduces. When the activity of the cannabinoid system declines, we find rapid aging in the brain, end quote. Mice have a short lifespan and show mental decline after usually just 1 year. The researchers administered small quantities of THC to mice aged 2, 12, and 18 months over a 4-week period, testing their learning capacity and memory performance with mice given a placebo. The mice given a placebo displayed normal age-dependent cognitive losses, while the 12 and 18-month-old mice given THC were found to have cognitive functions as good as the 2-month-old control animals. The researchers hope to begin trials on humans next. I've been trying that for a long time. I think it works. Anyway, that's the end of our hemp news segment for tonight, and sometimes my doses aren't that small. But John Cornett is ready to play us a tune and then jump into the co-host chair. Hey, John.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Yeah, I
I'm
had a
doing
pretty
okay.
bad time this week with seizures. I had a string of seizures on Wednesday.
Oh, no.
I'm very lucky to be here right now.
Well, we're very lucky
So-
to have you here. Thanks for
Feel very
coming
grateful
in.
to be here, brother. You know, if it weren't for the cannabis oil, I'd probably be having 2 or 3 a day. But as it is, I may have one every month and a half or so.
Uh-huh.
That's a real big difference.
I heard that you'd been suffering from some grand mal seizures.
Anyway, this is a song I wrote a long time ago. I think I played it here a few times, but I feel like playing it tonight. It's called Now's the Time. Now is the time. The time is now to tell the truth, to hear the truth, to know the truth, to know the truth. Passive lies and fantasy isn't how it has to be. And ignorance throwing stones like so many brainless clones. Sound the alarm, investigate. Sound the alarm, re-educate. Now is the time for the truth. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. The time is now to seek the truth. To speak the truth, to be are rarely ever innocent. Dissension is the only way. Learn to live another day. Sound the alarm, investigate. Sound the alarm, re-educate. Now is the time for the truth. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. Whoa, whoa. Sound the alarm, investigate. Sound the alarm, re-educate. Now is the time for the truth. Whoa, whoa. Now is the time. Whoa, whoa.
All right. Thank you, John. Sounds good. All right. We have a great show for you tonight. If you have a question or comment for us about cannabis or hemp or medical marijuana, you can call us at that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. And at the last minute, we got a text that Casper is not going to be here. So John has kindly decided to, he can step in here and keep me company so I don't have to stumble around on my own. Hey, John.
Good to see you, Paul.
Good to see you too, bro. Welcome.
Good to be back after that. Hey, it was a rough week.
Yeah. So was it one of the grand mal seizures?
It was a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, it was unexpected too. I thought I was up on my oil. I was up on my lorazepam also. I take lorazepam when I start to feel something. And as usual, here it comes, and I usually say, Judy! And the next thing I know, this time I got stuck with my head between the, the nightstand and the bed, and I think I got a bruise here on my head here. Yeah, and ended up running through. It was kind of a weird one. It was a really weird one.
Well, I'm sure glad you're here tonight.
I think there may have been some other cosmic forces at work, because it was weird.
There's a full moon right around then, I think. That might have been it. We're gearing up for that big solar eclipse. You never know. But if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at that number. It's 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. And I'd like to also announce that our friend Gio is back with Oregon-grown business. He'd been waiting for his OLCC license to be able to come back, and our cameraman Eric works there as a security person, so if you want to see Eric or Gio, go on over and say hi to them there. They're at right off the corner of Stark and Washington on 82nd.
What's the name of that again?
Oregon Grown, right?
Oregon Grown.
Oregon Grown.
Okay. I'll look for it when I'm over there.
Yeah, yeah. And,
stop in and get a joint or something.
Yep. On the day marijuana became legal, that's where I went. It was October 1st of 2015 when adult sales could start. And so I went in there and bought 3 joints for $10, I think it was. I might still have 1 or 2 of them, given that I mainly vaporize.
Can you still get them that cheap?
I don't know.
Seems
I
like
can't
the
answer
prices
that
are going
question.
up everywhere. I'm glad I grow my
They
own.
are. They're going up at the stores and they're going down for the growers. That's what I hear anyway. Wow. But you know, some equilibrium hopefully will be established at some point there.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to the price going down.
It should
I know a
be
lot
down.
of people want it to go up so they can make more money. I want to see it go down.
This
so
stuff
that
grows on trees.
So that my wife and I don't have to worry in our old age about having plenty of oil or cannabis. We need it. We really need it for our health.
Mm-hmm. We know so many of these indoor growers are heavily invested in getting the highest dollar possible for their cannabis, and that's of course.
Well, it's a free enterprise system we have.
It is.
There's nothing wrong with making money, I guess. if that's what you like to do. It's a free country.
That's true. That's true. Well, you know what? We, in fact, talking about some of these big indoor warehouses, we have a video that Jorge Cervantes just dropped a couple days ago that shows a huge indoor facility. But I guess we have a caller standing by. Let's take that call first. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi. I just had a comment about Sessions. If he is he's such an ignorant bastard, at least one good thing about it is since he's so outspoken. At least we know exactly what he's made of, you know.
Yeah.
So we know what we're dealing with.
I want to know.
It's not like he's operating in secret, you know, behind closed doors.
No, he's trying to build up, a resurgence of police state, really, you know, and more no-knock raids and more people going to jail. And, you know, already the United States has more people in jail than any other country on earth. Here we are about 20% the size of China, but we have twice as many people in jail that China has.
Right.
So
it's like Nixon coming out of the grave, you know.
yeah, exactly. Well, I guess Sessions was a buddy of Nixon's way back when. Of course, you know, Trump in a lot of ways is trying to revive some of those Nixonian ideals, like firing the FBI. Remember today, that's often
Absolutely.
compared to that.
Yeah.
So he did get rid of Comey?
Yeah. Yep, he did.
I don't know. Comey was no innocent.
No.
As well.
It's another story. It's probably not a cannabis story.
Right.
We will continue to fight for freedom here and everywhere. I think they can't put the genie back in the bottle, and the truth is out. And you know, the majority of people are in favor of marijuana legalization, and they can't stop that.
Yeah.
Just too much evidence that it helps rather than it hurts.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
thanks for taking my call, and have a good evening.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for calling. And if you're out there and you have a question for us, you can call us at that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. And we'll go ahead and run that little video now of Jorge Cervantes in some big warehouse. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's a 40-hour-a-week job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really good to know because a lot of people want to get into this industry. Wow, there's some really big buds in here already. My God.
We can walk in the middle.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, let's walk down here. Oh, okay, here, there's a road right down the middle. Oh, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I saw some of these. There was, I think, where was it? One of these, this was a big one. There was some real big, oh yeah, that's a big heavy one. You can't really see it as well with the camera, but it's, the whole thing is, it's like, this is heavy already, and it's quite early. So that's really good. It's starting to get sticky. There's so much growth, difference in growth here on each one of these varieties. Amazing. God, this just keeps going and going, eh? Takes forever to get through here. And then we got, oh, I see. This is cool down here. We don't have a lot of room. I have to stand over here. But this is good. These posts in here keep you from bumping into the plant and breaking the limbs and whatnot. Well, hey, Ryan, could you tell me about this? This looks like
This is one of our mother plants that we decided to flower out here. So this is, I believe, a pre-98 Bubba Kush, early stage. So we are, pre-98 Bubba Kush. We decided to flower the mom out and just kind of see what happened.
Pre-98, that'd be old school, I guess, to you guys?
Yeah, I guess. It's a great strain for us. It is starting to stack up, looking pretty decent. We still got some time left in this room, so I think it should be good.
And this isn't the heaviest producer, but I know a lot of people like this variety as well.
Yeah.
Because you can see some of these other buds. I don't know if we can get around and see some of these other ones, but these are all, let's see, Yeah, there's some really big buds in here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, it looks real nice. And it's full, hardly any aisles. You gotta kind of have this one because you can't access. You can't access this area any other way. So you pretty much have to have this aisle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because see with these beds, you can get them. You can have an aisle like this. You can have an aisle like this, and where the beds they go back and forth. But you really can't make them go this way and still stay efficient. You know, it's too much. So you've got, I mean, pretty well maxed this room out. Let me see if I can get out of here. Because it takes a while to get out of here. It's a jungle. Yeah. Missed that one. Okay. Well, I'd say we're pretty good right now. We got to talk loud because the fans are still going. Can't cut the fans down. Toy shop. Okay, we're at the toy shop, and these are some of the guys that work here, but not all of them. And so we just thought we'd say goodbye from, you know, so you can see a few flowers and stuff. And yeah, if you guys want to say anything, please do. The world's watching.
Stay growing. Yeah, go check us out on Instagram, Disciples of Danks.
Disciples of Danks.
Disciples of Danks. Okay, now we're all in the same gang.
All right. Well, we want to thank Jorge Cervantes. He's from Portland here. He used to have a store up at 100th and Southeast Foster, but he shut it down back during the Bush administration, the first Bush administration, actually, when the federal government cracked down on grow stores. But he's an old friend of mine. But we have a caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi there. I just wanted to ask you if you would please talk about Oregon Senate Bill 1057. Did they vote on it? If they did, which way did it go? And what does it mean to us? Thanks so much.
Sure. They voted it out of committee about a week ago, and 1057 would merge medical marijuana growers into the OLCC system, and medical marijuana growers would have to apply for a $2,000 OLCC license. So it's come out of the joint committee, and it hasn't passed through either house yet. So we would urge all of our viewers to contact your Oregon State representatives down in Salem and urge them to vote no on Senate Bill 1057. It's a bad one for sure.
And Judy and I called both. We each called our senator, our state senator, and Representative Susan Bonamici, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And
she's federal.
Right. And but Chuck Riley for sure. We called him and harassed him for a long time.
Uh-huh.
He seems to be pro, but you know, I don't know. I think he's in the middle. I don't know how he really votes. He seems to be pro. I don't know. I don't trust. I hate to say it, but I don't trust any of those people in Hillsborough. You know, just a little novelty story here. I got a gig to play over in Hillsborough, and you know, I've been playing all my Cannabis songs, right?
Right.
So, you know, I had, I think, a couple of sets. They asked me to play a couple hours, so no problem. So I had my couple of sets, and it was about.
Where'd you play at?
It was Hillsborough, Saturday or Tuesday market.
Oh, the Tuesday market. Okay.
All the good folks.
So it's a farmer's market.
Half Cannabis songs.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And of course, there was a church lady over here who was not allowed to do her church messages, so she felt like my message was a religious one, so she insisted that I be shut down. And so all the way to the end of my gig, we argued about it, whether or not I could play these. I said, but this is all I know. These are the songs that I know. I mean, I know 100-something songs.
I know you know a lot of songs.
But this is the songs that I set up for this show, and they told me, well, you can't play those. Why not? These are you knew who I was.
Right.
And these are the songs that I play. I continue to play them. And they threatened to unplug it and I managed to bring it right to the end. I got all my songs out.
A confrontation, huh?
I couldn't believe it, though. You know, they asked me to play. They paid me. I said, so you're going to pay me now? They gave me my $200 check. So.
Oh, all right. They paid you. That's good. That's more than we can do.
Well, brother, you know, that I didn't even, well, never mind.
But that's
one
good.
of those things they give
good.
to you, you know, you don't expect it.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's really good. We are taking your phone calls tonight. If you have a question for us, you can call us at that number, 503-288-4442. And we have a caller standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Paul. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey.
Yeah, I heard about a month ago on KBOO Community Radio that they were talking about cannabis vapor pens, that some of the ingredients they use to cut it with, glycerin or glycol or something like that,
Yeah.
possible cancer-causing agent.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Yes, I have. You know, and I don't really like those pens that much because I don't need to inhale glycerin. I like my vaporizers. I can just put my flowers in there. It pumps pure hot air through there, and that's the best extraction agent. And you don't have any combustion, so you don't have any combustion byproducts like tar or carbon monoxide. In fact, studies of vapor, heat extracted vapor shows that it's 95% THC, 2% CBD, and 3% terpenes, the aromatic hydrocarbons that give cannabis its flavor. The cannabinol, it's CBD, THC, they don't have a flavor, but it's the aromatic hydrocarbon, the terpenes, that really give it the flavor.
Can you
I see. Okay, hey, thank you. One last question is, I know that I understand the issue you were going through with someone stealing your company. Did you ever think about going to Senator Ron Wyden, since this is a foreign company that's doing this?
You know, I haven't thought about going to Wyden, and that's still going on, so I'm glad you brought it up. I'd like to take this opportunity to tell all of our viewers, do not go to Empower clinics. Do not go to the clinics that I worked at and started and ran and built up from nothing to a business of about 270,000 Americans from Michigan to Hawaii, because this group of investors have come in and fraudulently stolen it from us. And so we encourage you, do not go to our old clinic there on 18th Avenue, just off of Burnside, because it's been taken over by a Canadian-Israeli oil company called Adira Energy. Just look up Adira Energy, A-D-I-R-A Energy.com, and you'll find out why is a petrochemical company coming in to take over this. Because they view your medical records as being worth millions and millions of dollars. They think that they're worth between $20 and $60 million. And so we encourage you, do not go to Empower Healthcare, the old THCF clinic there at 105 Southeast 18th, just off of Burnside. And if you need more information, we have a referral service where we can help you find doctors all over the country. Just give us a call at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606.
Okay, hey, thank you for taking my call.
Hey, thanks for bringing that up. Gave me a great opportunity to talk about that.
I was going to suggest that he just make his own, maybe small batches of oil, and then just use the pen just to burn it. That way you avoid all those added chemicals.
That's right. That's right. It doesn't flow enough for those pens usually. It has to. It's not. It's like tree sap almost. It's really solid. So those things need something that flows a little bit better, and that's why they put in the agents that.
And you can just. There's different kinds of pens, though,
Yeah, there are. There's some that are just a hot little bowl, and you put
just got a little coil there and just a little dab there and close.
I like my Volcano vaporizer. It's not cheap, but it's. I've got one that's 12 years old and it's still going strong. Where those pens, you're lucky if those things last 3 months.
Yeah,
it's
right.
been my experience anyway.
Right.
Just this past weekend there was the Worldwide Global Cannabis March, and they happen all over the world. And we have a couple of videos here from those marches. And so we're going to run them right now so you can see how much fun they are. So here it goes, I think. So we didn't have
Make some noise for yourselves. Make some more noise a little louder. We already know what we here for, man.
And we give thanks to the Most High. And we're
feeling really fine. That's right. Yo, 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 yo. George Washington, father of this nation. Smoke his own homegrown medication.
Once again, y'all, we out here to encourage the people about the cannabis. Once again, it's a medical situation as well as a recreational medicine. The cannibalistics, the paranoid fools, tricking each other with the games and rules, and training out men to kill and fight, and then they move them and steer them like a Maginot's knife. But the only thought man had in mind was to conquer this world, the rest of mankind. And with the thought that they were right, they gave you permission to take a man's life.
We're here. We're on the side of history. We are winning, and Jeff Sessions, you are not.
I was feeling not.
All right, there was Busy Bee. He's the original rapper. He actually did that doo-wop diddy song. I think
Way
Kid
back
Rock
when? Oh, really?
did it
Okay.
too, and he was here at our Hempstock Festival. He's
Okay, I like that
works
song.
with Steve Haker out there. But I went to the march back in 2013, and David Peel, who just passed away a few months ago, a protege of John Lennon, who has the famous song "I Like Marijuana." That was he played it at Woodstock even. So he was there in 2013, and there was a tribute to him there at the march in New York City. That was the march in New York City, and our intrepid cameraman Frank Mahoney is down in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and he made this video for us. So stay tuned for the Spanish March, which is exponentially larger. At about 100,000 people marching there.
Wow. Yeah. It's the size of a city, dang.
¿De qué manera se va a efectuar esta ley? Acá es donde tenemos que entre todos también, por eso estén pendientes de las redes, este día nos vamos a movilizar para pedir la incorporación del cultivador solidario en la ley de cannabis medicinal. Así que atentos que no te debes quedar afuera, nadie está afuera todavía.
Bueno, y ahora,
Además, en pie de lucha por el reclamo incesante de los derechos que la ley 23.737 y las políticas conservadoras, porque las políticas conservadoras sostienen este modelo, apoyan el narcotráfico y criminalizan a los usuarios de cannabis. Nos arrebatan nuestros derechos, compañeros. Tenemos que estar acá y tenemos que luchar. Exigir la inmediata liberación del autor Ferraro, que lleva 2 meses privado de su libertad, y la liberación de todos quienes están privados de su libertad por cultivar cannabis. Muchas gracias, perdón la demora.
So it's a global movement. As you can see, that was from Buenos Aires, and then before from New York City, And it happened in over 200 cities this year, the global Cannabis March.
It's amazing.
It is. We have a caller who's standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, how are you? Welcome. There's a little delay in the TV, so listen through your phone, hopefully.
Okay, great. Actually, my question's for John Cornett. I heard through the grapevine that a cannabis patient is building himself a mobility chair. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, yeah. His name is Robert Pasley. Matter of fact, Brother Robert should have been, well, I don't want to say it that way. We have a miracle living with us. His name is Robert Pasley. His brain is shrinking. I can't remember the name of the disease, but this guy, instead of dying, according to the doctor, he should have been dead 2 years ago. But because of cannabis oil, he's not only living, but he's building this outrageous mobility device, which he's hoping to debut in here, that both electric and motorized. It's cool as all get at. It came out of his hardship of being down, right? And this guy's for real. I love it. It's just freaking awesome. So whoever that was that called, thank you for bringing it up. And there's another guy here too. My brother, my blood brother, Robert Cornett, is right over here. This man here was rejected from the Army. He went and I guess, smoked and ate a bunch of
weed. And now he was rejected for a heart murmur, right? That's why. Well, he wasn't rejected because of marijuana.
No, because, yeah.
He had stenosis from birth, apparently.
But he believes that because of his heavy use of cannabis, he was able to heal that
prior to going into the Army. After the first rejection.
He was able to heal that enough in order to go into the Army and actually spend 8 years honorable in the United States Army. And he served his time. We both spent 8 years in the military. I did Air Force, he did the Army.
I'm a disabled veteran, service-connected disabled U.S. military veteran myself, but I got out in less than a year. They gave me a choice. They said, I was in a cannon crewman in the field artillery, and they said, well, we can, after I hurt my knee and ankle, they said, we can let you out or we can train you for a new job. And I said, let me out.
Right.
Let me out. But,
yeah, they didn't get me. They almost got me for life, but I realized I could do other stuff out.
Yep. We, a few years ago, had Dr. Thomas Orvald would come in on the show periodically, and we have an old clip with Thomas Orvald talking about medicinal cannabis and its use for degenerative disc disease. So here is Dr. Thomas Orvald talking about degenerative disc disease.
I think it's reasonable to talk about the malady that most of our patients are complaining of in the clinic, and that is back pain. Now, there are a lot of reasons for back pain, but by far the most frequent reason for discomfort is degenerative disc disease. Now, you all know that at one time, at least most of us believe, that at one time we were swinging in the trees and we ultimately came down and stood up on our hind legs, and this was one of the problems that encountered the problem with disc problems. If you stand in a vertical position, you have vertebral bodies that have shock absorbers between them, which are called discs. And I'll show you a little bit of a diagram here. These are vertebral bodies, and in between the vertebral bodies, as shock absorbers, we have discs. And this is just gives you an idea of what our problems are. Now, the discs are, as we said, shock absorbers. They are very thick and fibrous around the periphery and very tough. But as time goes on, as we age, we start to have degenerative problems in the disc. This is a disc looking down on it. The outside is fibrous tissue. The inside, strangely enough, is gelatinous. So it's like Jell-O. Now, what happens to these discs as they degenerate is, in some cases, they get a weak spot and they bulge. When they bulge, they have a tendency to cause pressure on nerves that originate from this area, and it can cause pain. The other problem is when one of these ruptures, it actually breaks open, and this gelatinous material is forced out and sits outside in this area, and once again causes pressure on these nerve roots. So this is the thing that we see with most frequency, and there are many ways of treating this. Because I am surgically oriented, I am most happy with a surgical approach, but it's not always possible. So today we can treat them surgically. We can treat them with some injections of lidocaine or material that will decrease pain. But we end up most of the time using our proverbial cannabis. And cannabis helps these people incredibly with handling their discomfort. And once again, this is the thing that we see with most frequency in our clinics.
All right, thank you, Dr. All right, so that's Dr. Thomas Orvald. He helped us start our clinics in Washington and Colorado and Michigan and Hawaii. He just traveled all over and helped us get our clinics going across the country. So I'm very grateful for him. He's retired now up in Washington State. But I just want to let our viewers know here in the final few minutes of the show that do not go to our old clinic because it's been taken over by an Israeli-Canadian oil company called Adira Energy. You can look that up. It's ADIRA energy.com. And they have basically stolen it, and it's called fraud in the inducement. They lied and didn't actually provide any things. I think, John, we're going to take a little bit longer here. Come on back. Yeah. We still have about 5 minutes to go. But anyway, I just wanted to say that we encourage you, do not go and see the folks at Empower Healthcare there at 18th and off of Burnside. And if you want more information, there's just an article out this week in a magazine called Ganjapreneur talking about what these folks have done. They actually have written to this television station, to our cable access people, and told them that I am anti-Semitic because I talk about this being an Israeli company. And they also complained about a joke that Casper Leach had made. And they have threatened to sue the cable access television station that we're on right now in several different ways. And of course, you know, saying that I am anti-Semitic is just ridiculous. You know, have Jewish ancestry myself. So if I was anti-Semitic, it would be like a self-hate thing or something. And it's just crazy that they would accuse me of that. Nothing could be farther from the truth. But they will use anything to lie about me and lie about us and to hurt us. They are attempting to take our outdoor medical marijuana grow building for nothing. They haven't paid a penny for it. But they are fighting in court to steal that from us as well. They have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in their court action. So we will never surrender to these guys, and we encourage you, do not go to our old clinic at 105 Southeast 18th Avenue. If you'd like more information, you can give us a call at 503-235-4606. I'll be happy to tell you about that. Just give us a call at 503-235-4606. In fact, if you want more information about medical marijuana, about industrial hemp, or about marijuana laws around the world, you can call us at 503-235-4606. If you're outside of the Portland area, you can call us at 888-499-THCF. That's 888-499-8423. And so we hope to hear from you. So we're down to just a few minutes left here, John. Is there anything else you want to tell us about?
I hope those people from wherever, I hope they just go away, or somebody will wake up and realize that
Well, we're going to have to beat them in court. They're not going to go away. But the facts are on our side, but the money is on their side, and all too often, money talks in the court systems. And so we actually don't even have an attorney right now. I've spent about $130,000 on attorneys, and they've been outspent by these other guys, and we do not have any attorneys representing us currently. We're looking for attorneys. I've been talking to them every day.
I'm an avid researcher, and this is just par of the course. Par of the course. I would have expected something like this. I would have hoped that it wouldn't, but
yeah.
Now that it's happened,
well, for more information, give us a call at 503-235-4606. Of course, I've been talking about, we didn't realize it was an Israeli oil company when we first got into this deal. In fact, they didn't give us any money. They put money into our marijuana legalization initiative back in 2014. And I've been talking about hemp, and hemp. We have our hemp flame of freedom right here, burning hemp oil with a hemp wick. And I've been talking about the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate, elite, fascist sons of a bitches for years, and now they're coming after me. Anyway, we'll be back. John's going to go over and get ready to play some exit music. I want to thank you guys for watching. We will be back next week with another good show for you here. I think we have a lady from back east with her Hemp Nation magazine, a hemp publication. So we'll be talking more about industrial hemp next week. Tune in then, though. Thanks for watching, and help us restore hemp. Good night.
Did you know the sun will shine one day? Everything on earth will melt away. All the oceans rise above the land, crowning everyone and every man. Whoa, let's make the best of it now. We'll be just another asteroid floating through the mind of Sigmund Freud. So many years we've been up on this place, deep work that we face. Whoa.